So does Pam.
Are you guys ready? Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Town Council meeting Monday, June 20th. If you will please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We wanted to have a moment of silence because we wanted to acknowledge the passing of former Mayor Claudia Bayo's mother-in-law, Jane Downs. So our hearts and prayers go out to Miss Bayo and her family, and to the Downs family as well.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion at this time to amend the agenda to add just now under the Pledge of Allegiance, ahead of public comment, to add a presentation by the Assistant Director of the Central Connecticut Health District, Ann Hartman.
Okay.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
And I would also, at this time, just to make the additional motion to amend Section 11 of tonight's agenda, Executive Session, Review Draft Resolution, Charter Section 504, not C5-4, but Section 504.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Wonderful. Okay, so we have a special presentation. It's a super exciting night from Ann Hartman from the Central Connecticut Health District. And Ann, we're going to come up and meet you with our microphone. Oh, okay. Okay. We'll have you come right up here.
Come around.
If that's the trophy, should we have it in the picture so that good people can see it at home?
Yeah,
I'm doing the picture. Oh, you want to do it?
I'm going to give you the microphone so
Okay.
that they hear you on the record.
Okay. Good evening, everybody, and town council members. Thank you for allowing me to do this. So tonight we are celebrating the end of the four-town walking competition. It was called Walk This May. And this year, unlike any other year, we have a very unique situation. We have something that we've called the Triple Crown. It has never happened. The walking competition has been going on kind of in its current form since 2017. And we have the Triple Crown, which means that Rocky Hill won all three categories that we have. They won something called the Impact Award, which I'm about to hand to Mr. Mayor and to Lisa. So the Impact Award is given to the town that has the most number of participants. So this year we had around 350 total, and Rocky Hill had 120 of those people from Rocky Hill. So congratulations to Rocky Hill for the Impact Award. And I would like to request that that go to Parks and Rec, because Lisa and Nick really worked hard to get the word out this year, to get people to get started exercising again after maybe we slowed down a little bit. So I would love to have them have that Impact Award. Parks and Rec for the highest number of participants. Okay. All right. So, okay.
Yeah.
This next award honors one of those participants. So this year we have something called the Million Step Club. We've had it before, but this year we had only 2 people that made it into the Million Step Club. It was more challenging this year because we only had the month of May. In previous years, we've done a 6-week competition. So I would like to call up Pradeep Karaju, who was awarded this. Can you hold that for a second?
Sure.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So he walked 1,027,672 steps.
That was just in May?
Come up. You also get
Wow.
a pin with microscopic writing on it that says member of the Million Step Club Walking Competition 2022. Let me pin that on him. So the other person that won was from the town of Newington, but we won't go into many details. Just 2 people this year. So here's the second jewel and the second crown. And Pradeep earned 3.4% of all of the steps that were walked in the town. Thank you. And his family participated. So his wife participated and his children as well. So. Oh, that's good. And this folder is for you to put your. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Oh, wait, you want to get this? Put that.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
It's magnificent.
Good job. Uh-oh, the Heisman.
And
You hold this and
sure.
Try drinking champagne out
So
of that.
the High Stepper Trophy Award this year goes to, of course, the final gem in the Triple Crown, or final crown in the Triple Crown. So this, you combined total, the residents of Rocky Hill walked 29,851,560 steps over the course of the month. Congratulations. I also want to say that as a whole group, all together, all the towns, we walked 1.5 times around the circumference of the earth. And combined, if you do the calories per step, we combined lost 951 pounds. If you do the math of 3,500 steps or calories per pound, that's how many pounds we lost altogether. So thank you for letting me do this. Thank you to Rocky Hill. This is really very fun that you got a Triple Crown. So thank you. Yes. So Berlin has had a clutch on this for a while. So we're happy. You keep it here for the whole year, and then we will come back and retrieve it when the walking competition begins next May. And we think we're going to do it in May all the time. We kind of like that walk this May. Sorry, I don't know how to use this. Yeah. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Anne. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We so appreciate it. Thank you. All right.
All right, Jenna, give us the Heisman goals.
Yeah, put it here.
Good night. Okay. We are going to move on to public comment. This portion of the meeting is specifically set aside for comments from the public who are asked to limit their comments to 2 minutes. Any person interested in providing public comment but cannot attend the meeting should email their written comment to publicmeetings@rockyhillct.gov. So is there anyone who wishes to be heard from the public? Okay, seeing none, we will move forward to appointments and resignations. Councillor Duff?
No appointments or resignations from our side.
Okay.
No appointments or resignations either.
Okay. Moving on, approval of the minutes A, Town Council Budget Workshop, May 5th, 2022, and Town Council Meeting, June 6th, 2022.
Helen, are you?
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve the budget workshop, May 5th, 2022.
A second?
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
And I'll make a motion to approve the council meeting minutes of June 6th, 2022.
A second?
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Moving to subcommittee reports, Finance.
The Finance Subcommittee did meet on Thursday, June 9th. The first item was the bond anticipation notes. We have $4.2 million in bands that will be rolling over. We'll be adding an additional $2 million from this year's road referendum. The plan is the following year to add an additional $2 million, and then we will issue a bond at that time. On the consent agenda, the environmental fees, we did receive, as previously discussed, a little over $11,000 in NIP environmental funds, and a little clarification on the use of those. We have to use those funds for cleanup purposes. So the idea is to purchase items along the lines of some items that help clean up litter, such as a street sweeper, vacuum, or motorized broom unit. So that's our first 6 months' worth. The number's just shocking to me. On this evening's consent agenda, we have a tax refund for Mr. Rocky LLC. This was a tax appeal on the Ames property, and this was a settlement reached by parties at the Superior Court. Usually, we don't give refunds, but since this was a sale transaction, we are doing a refund. Usually, we issue a credit to future years. So this will have an impact on this year's budget. I'm not sure if the refund's already been issued or it's still pending.
It won't until
Till after tonight, okay. We also spent some time at the meeting going through our special revenue funds. We have 19 special revenue funds, approximately 19, and learning the ins and outs of how money goes in and out of those different funds. Revenue and expenses were relatively in line. Overall, we're projecting approximately $300,000 to be under budget this year, but it's close, so we need to keep an eye on it as we go. Some of the costs sneaking up on us are obviously fuel costs through the highway department. Sanitation, we still have 2 months of trash collection. Revenue was slightly behind by about $134,000, and we still have some state revenue coming in, which should come in the month of June. And that concludes the finance report.
Thank you. Government operations?
Government operations has not met since our last town council meeting. We are next scheduled to meet on July 18th.
Thank you. Public safety?
Public safety did meet earlier today at 5:30, and the fire department reported that they responded to 58 incidents, bringing their year-to-date total to 251 responses so far. Their training hours were 441 this month, bringing their year-to-date total of training up to 1,813. One firefighter reported injured. The total active fire department personnel, volunteers, 62 active, a total number of 68 members, total number of members 68. So there's one out on military service, one out on family FMLA, and one out on education leave. There was one rescue today. A resident was unfortunately caught up with her legs in a wrought iron fence, and they were able to cut her free just earlier today. There are 3 new members who have passed the background checks and physicals, one to be assigned to the fire police to start in July. A second member submitted final paperwork beginning June. A third member awaiting start date for Station 1, currently going through training. Rocky Hill Fire Department hosted live fire training for Berlin fire departments using the Fire Blast burn trailer. And we have 2 members that just completed Firefighter 1 certification. We have 1 member who just completed Fire Instructor 2. 1 member completed Fire Officer 1, and 1 member completed Pump Operator certification. Police Department reports. Calls for service in May, 3,884, bringing the year-to-date total to 20,408 calls for service through dispatch. They had in May 25 criminal arrests, 47 motor vehicle accidents, 8 DUIs, 105 infractions issued, 375 warnings issued, town tickets issued 13. The stolen car theft, motor vehicle theft, thefts from motor vehicles, and the catalytic converters have taken a bit of a month off. Numbers have dipped back down, although we are starting to hear some anecdotal evidence of some thefts of involving motor vehicles occurring in the commercial setting, in commercial parking lots around town. Again, may be driven more by the catalytic converters. The town continues to participate in the Greater Hartford Task Force. And just to give you an idea of the work that group produces, they have had 189 stolen vehicles recovered, 76 arrests, 17 firearms confiscated, 74 warrants served. Of the outstanding warrants that are sitting to be served, 74 they were able to actually serve, and 22 other types of arrests. So they continues to be a very productive effort and time well spent, and actually has spillover effect to Rocky Hill. The police chief reported that one stolen car incident was quickly resolved, and the assailant was apprehended quickly because of the information in the Greater Hartford Task Force that was passed on down to us. The drone team responded to a fugitive at large, I believe it was Sunday, at one of the hotel areas in town. Unfortunately, the assailant was able to escape, so he was not caught, but the drone team was called out, and they did a complete search and helped in that investigation with federal agents, actually. The police report is reporting that they are fully staffed, and they did quite a bit of social interaction during the month. Cops for Kids program, work at the Cadet Academy. They competed against the Weathersfield PD at the Wooden Tap Tips for Cops, and they gained the most amount of money in their fundraising drive, and all that money goes to Special Olympics. They participated in a fun run at the local school, and they did a merit badge program with the Cub Scouts, interacting with the Cub Scouts. Emergency management, in the area of emergency management, the ALICE training continues, and they will complete the month of June scheduled ALICE trainings. The Health District reports, town manager reported that they had a successful booster vaccine drive at the senior center this past month. 52 second boosters, I guess, were given out to seniors in June so far, so that's great. And the children's vaccine, as it begins to roll out, more than likely will be distributed through their pediatricians as opposed to some sort of vax program.
Okay.
All right? Mm-hmm. And that's, the next meeting is July 18th at 5:30.
Thank you. Senior Liaison.
We have not had a meeting since our last council meeting. Next meeting is Monday, the 27th at 5 p.m.
Thank you. Land Acquisition and Farmland Preservation.
No meeting. Our next meeting is actually just around the corner here, June 28th at 6.
Thank you. School Liaison. Is anyone reporting for Counselor Prakash?
Actually,
No.
need state rep and send first.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I skip over that? Okay. Liaison to the state rep and state senator.
No report.
Okay. And how about now? School
No
liaison?
report.
No? Okay. Capital Improvements Committee.
No meeting, no report.
Economic Development Sub.
Same, no meeting, no report.
Town Manager Search Committee.
Sure. We continue to meet and move forward, and the some of the accomplishments so far from the committee is just that we had a vote from council to unanimously set up a search committee, town manager search committee. We had a vote unanimously to provide authority to appoint an acting town manager resolution. We have a timeline that was shared publicly with a deadline of November 1st to find a candidate for town manager for the town of Rocky Hill. Of course, earlier we hired SGR, a national search firm, and they are about to go live with their marketing campaign. And staff, Dana just dropped off, actually, no, correction, just that we hired SGR, and that's it. We have no plan for our next meeting just yet.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to consent agenda.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to old business, discussion, possible action, American Rescue Plan, ARP funding options.
I have no update at this point.
Okay. Anything on your end that you want to discuss presently? Okay. Why don't we make a point to circle back at the next meeting, go over that list and see if there's anything we want to add? Not that we're in a hurry to spend that money, because there's not a lot left, but,
Yeah, I think that makes sense, especially because it'll be about a month between our next one, so
okay.
sounds.
Okay, good. Old business B, discussion possible action subcommittee volunteer sustainable group.
That's just a
yeah,
carryover from
okay.
last meeting. If there's any action to be taken in forming the committee or
I think that we're still waiting for the attorney to give us his resolutions and recommendations.
Yeah, I thought we were also going to, as part of that effort, he was going to look at what other towns had found successful as well. I think some of that was presented last time, but we were going to get a revised draft based on our feedback from the last meeting. So
Okay.
hopefully from next meeting we can have that.
Okay, good.
And it's not holding up, the lack of having this formalized isn't holding up any work. That's correct?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, they still meet, they meet once a week, actually. Yeah. Okay. And then finally, C, approval to apply for a 2022 Small Town Economic Assistant Program STEEP grant.
this was discussed at the last meeting about the steep grant program coming out, and this is just a formality that the council is authorizing staff to apply for a steep grant, I think by August 15th, so it's just getting a start on the paperwork required by the state to apply for a grant.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to authorize town staff to apply for the 2022 steep grant.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
Is that the resolution that we have in our packet?
Yes.
The only question I have on it, because John will be leaving at the end of the month, and it says authorize to enter into and execute any and all agreements. Should we put town man or his successor, because some of these things may go past June 30th? This is authorizes John.
I understand what you're
and
saying.
I'm
Yeah,
just
no, I
wondering if
think
we
that
should-
makes sense.
I'm sorry?
I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
I kind of noted that when I was looking through this.
All right. Do you want to make a friendly amendment, or do you want?
Make a
should you
friendly
want-
amendment that we revise it to say John Mayer, town manager, or a successor.
Okay.
And I'll accept the friendly amendment.
Okay. Any further discussion? Thank you, Mimi. All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to new business, we are going to take A off the agenda.
You need a motion to do
We probably should do that.
that. Can I make a motion, please, to table item A, approval labor contract, National Association of Government Employees, NAGE Local R1-266.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Moving on, new business B, discussion possible action, the renting of rooms in the community center. So you have a couple.
At the last meeting, it was brought up about looking into renting the community center rooms to the public. The Parks was able to get a couple towns' policies and so on, Glastonbury and Newington as examples and so on, and they were, should have been in your packet as well. The memo just said some high points that I saw that I thought were pretty good. And talking with Parks and Senior Center, looking to maybe rent out not as many rooms as Glastonbury and maybe follow like the Newington pattern, in which renting out the gymnasium, the multi-purpose room that could be one room to three rooms with the extra charge if they use the kitchen. And regular room 2, I guess that'd be more like a meeting room. And if we do it on weekends, maybe just do it on Saturdays, not on Sundays. The key thing is getting personnel, primarily the custodians, wanting to work on a Saturday, and so on. And we do have custodians come in on Saturday because usually there are other activities going on there, but usually Sunday's pretty much a dormant day down there.
I mean, I think if you want to do that as usual, but I think there may be certain types of activities that may take place on a Sunday. If you have a christening, perhaps somebody would want, if somebody is, if there's a bar mitzvah or something on Saturday, depending on what synagogue, they may not allow a party on Saturdays, so you may have to do it on Sunday. So I don't think we want to preclude ourselves. It may cost more because we may have to pay custodians more, and that's something we would have to look into, but I don't think we should preclude having activities on Sundays if we're gonna go this route.
Yeah, so just adjust the fees accordingly based on the cost involved is what you're suggesting, or
Sorry?
just adjust the fees accordingly based on?
If it's gonna cost extra, yes, I think it should, we should have, and we have to set up, I think, a process that should be obviously covering the cost and a little markup to make some profit on it. I think we should have a set of how we're going to do that.
The Newington model shows that they've got a Sunday hourly and a Saturday hourly as well.
Yeah.
Did you guys, and maybe I'm missing it, the Newington one obviously seems a little easier, right? And I like the resident, non-resident. It doesn't include the nonprofit, and I think that always becomes an issue because we have nonprofits who will want to rent, and I don't know if you want to distinguish that, but notably I don't see anything about a deposit and insurance unless I'm missing it on the Newington one. Because I'm just thinking it'd be easy to sort of adopt
Yeah.
one over the other, but
I think we need that, yeah.
yeah. And do you guys have a preference in any of these? Like if we were to pick and choose?
I think we should pick and choose, and
Yeah.
this is a guide for us, but and I
Yeah.
think a couple of the rates I thought were pretty hefty if I don't see us renting
Yeah.
some of these, so I think we'd have to see what our cost is gonna be and what our markup is gonna be and go from there. But I think this
Yeah.
is a good guide. I think it's a good start for us to look at these.
So do you want to do this now? Do you want to pick and choose now, or do you want to caucus about it, and then maybe we can exchange an email?
I think either a caucus or a subcommittee of some kind, or we'll just
Yeah.
hash it out.
I think that probably makes sense than trying to solve it in real time. One question that I did have about some of the research that was done, John, did you get a sense of the utilization that the towns get based on these fee structures?
I believe, from talking to Craig, I believe Newington gets quite a bit of utilization, and I believe Glastonbury does as well. They got quite a good size facility over there. Plus, they have a kitchen that they use to cook in, as opposed to anything that would have to be brought in to use the town's kitchen. But I would say they do get good use at those towns.
And one other question I had, I think in one of the open houses that we did, the room that's over it's kind of across from the gym on the left was more of like an arts and crafts room. There was a I can't remember the name of the vendor, but she had set up there. They had a couple different arts and crafts vendors and also a cooking vendor. There's a cupcakes and cooking one, and there's also like a multimedia collage one. And I noticed that Newington specifically had the arts and crafts room called out, and I didn't know if the multi-purpose room A, B, or C could was included in that. But was there a thought on why we wouldn't have the arts and crafts room called out, or does that fall into kind of, I don't know, is that regular room
We're
too?
concerned more about people coming in using the room as a way and charging a fee to make money off of that. And usually the arts and craft, those types of functions are being provided by the town, either the Parks Department or the seniors, so it's sort of being provided. I think the person that came in and spoke wanted to use a room and then bring in people and charge a fee for whatever the service, and we are trying to avoid that. That's why Glastonbury's got top of their page when it says Group B, C, and D. It relates to nonprofits and so on, and then it does have a higher fee for private rentals. But I think the reason we didn't want to use the art room, because people would be using it and probably maybe charging a fee to try to make money on it at a very discounted price for use of a room like that.
And I mean, I guess we could just come up with a different price point for that or if that's something we could consider. Is there anything? Is there like town art supplies in there that we would need to like lock, or is it kind of bring your own?
Excuse me,
Like, would there be concern about in the art room? Are there town art supplies or used for the programs that you mentioned, like Parks and Rec or the library, or is that something?
No, I don't think it's more from the supply standpoint. It's just providing that type of service. That
Okay.
the town is providing it through their various summer, fall catalogs for those types of projects. And I believe the seniors are also doing things, and the town might bring in somebody to teach those classes, and the town would pay that fee and then probably try to collect it so that it would be a wash. And again, we're trying to avoid profit-oriented rentals.
I think you can achieve the same arts and crafts in a small room. It's not that much different. It just,
Yeah.
the concern would be the white tables.
Sure.
right?
Yeah, I wasn't sure which regular room 2 is, because that's listed as another recommendation. The gym makes sense, multipurpose room, and regular room 2.
I don't know.
Yeah. Do we have a definition?
Maybe that's where we meet. Is that the meeting room? Regular room 2, yeah.
Yes.
That meeting room, yeah.
I mean, just,
yeah.
I mean, could we either have the Parks and Recreation Subcommittee and/or the Finance Committee kind of work on this, as opposed to forming, I think we have
I think
committees
that
that
would be
already
smart, yeah.
could deal with this, so
Yeah.
sounds
I
like.
think it's smart to send it to a committee and not have to form a new committee. So,
So,
and then let me just ask you, alcohol. I mean, just get the basic stuff out there.
so this seems to be kind of the intersection of government operations and finance, I guess. Whichever- which subcommittee it largely fits.
Joint.
Super group.
But do you think the senior group would want to be involved in that? I think
Senior- yeah, the
you
senior-
think.
because we have talked about it in
Yeah,
senior, so
I think
it'd be
the senior.
I know Alan's on both, so.
So it'll be
Okay.
finance senior liaison, which is, and we definitely government ops for rental.
I'm on government ops, so we can add Jeff and.
And I'm on
I
finance.
should have a committee more than 5.
Yeah.
If you hit 6, then you got a quorum.
Right.
That way there, but
Right.
if you stay at 5, you should be fine. So if you had 2,
Is-
2,
is that
1,
Yeah, sorry.
Alan would make up 2, so he could be
Alan's on two, and
committees.
yeah, if we do, yeah.
Right.
so.
I'm on 2.
Is that something that you're gonna have to meet formally in this type of, or can you meet like on Zoom at
Well-
your convenience?
It just seems like there's so many subcommittees now that it's been pointed out, really, that
Right.
that it probably makes sense to just present to the full council, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's the thing, because it just touches on so many different areas. Might it make sense, I mean, to ask staff to perhaps generate or kind of flesh out a proposal for us to react to, rather than having the council create it from scratch? And one thing I think that town staff may be more sensitive to than we are is current usage patterns. There may be certain time slots that you want to block out and say, these hours, these days, it's not available for rental at all. There's only a certain number of blocks of time during the week that we're making available for people to privatize, so to speak. That's something that I think staff would know better than anybody on council would. And then, perhaps just give us a framework that we can give you some feedback on. Does that make sense?
Yes, I think you could do it between the parks and seniors, as well as facilities, and try to coordinate it, and then have finance involved with the monetary charges and so on. But I guess we're looking at, do you like the room arrangement? Did you want to add the art room? I hear that we should also include Sundays, so I think you like the Newington one, because that's sort of a condensed one, but Glastonbury does have that nonprofit category to help streamline who can
Yeah, I think
use
the
it.
general it would be good to just give them a general framework, so I do think, so we know the deposit, the insurance, the alcohol, the nonprofit,
And Sundays.
Sundays,
And I think a nonprofit in town and out of town, I would.
the in-town and out-of-town, yeah.
And John, along those lines, I know our youth sports use meeting rooms for their board meetings. And, I mean, I'm just reading the words here, but that would constitute a 501c3. In the past, we've never charged them because they're 100%. I'd like to make sure we can still continue to do that, because we'd just
Yep.
be passing that cost back to residents.
I think generally they use it during the nights.
Yeah, usually it is a weeknight.
And so I think this is more focusing in on like the weekend more.
Okay.
And I think they would continue to use the gymnasium for basketball leagues, town-related.
Absolutely.
But if somebody wants to come in and older adults or something want to rent it out for an hour or something to have their own league, that's where we would charge it. So I think we would probably distinguish it that
Yeah.
way there, that the town
Glastonbury
leagues.
did list Monday through Friday. That's why I saw that. I mean, I think my assumption is, listening to all the activities, during the day, there's nothing available. I mean, our rooms are pretty well booked. So it's really, you're talking evenings, weekends would be kind of the open times, unless there was an opening that we knew of well in advance.
Yeah.
I think it'd be useful to capture that, because there's other groups, I think the Land Trust in town. Also, I think it has had similar their board meetings there, and I don't think they were charged, but it was also while the facility was in use during the week for other purposes instead of holding it open. So if we could clarify for town-based nonprofits, I think that makes sense. And Glastonbury did mention they have an alcohol policy, which I think probably makes sense. Needing an improved alcoholic beverage provider, someone with their own insurance who's got experience. The other thing that I don't know how prescriptive we want to be, but just the hours the facility's available, that puts a cap on things too. If everybody's got to be out by 9 or 10, hopefully that should keep a lid on things. I didn't see that in Glastonbury or Newington when I was looking at those, but we should probably, I think, define what our hours is, if that makes sense. We don't want to have an all-night rager going.
Yeah,
Just one other- I'm sorry, just one other question. When it comes to gymnasium, do we need to prohibit any types of sports that could be damaging to the floor? Like, some gyms don't like street hockey being played because obviously the sticks can. So I don't know if there's any wording need to put in for anything that could be floor damaging.
I didn't really understand the permit part on the Newington one. On the back, permits, number 1, it talks a lot about permits. I don't know what kind of permit you would need, but I guess,
I think
If
they're just
staff's-
referring to the name of their form as a permit.
okay.
Yeah,
yeah.
it threw me a bit too,
Okay, thank you.
because they actually call this a permit.
Okay.
Facility use permit, yeah.
Gotcha, okay.
So that would just be like if we wanted to rent out the pavilion at Elmridge Park through our Parks and Rec, we would just, I don't know if we call it a form or a permit, but it'd probably be the same
Gotcha.
process, right?
Okay, I think that's a great start. Thank you very much. All right, moving on to mayor's report. So tonight, in lieu of the mayor's report, I'm just going to open the floor up to the council so that we can express our gratitude to the town manager for his many years of service, particularly as finance director, and then leading into town manager, and we have some pastries for those of you who are here and would like to indulge in that. But I thought it would be a nice opportunity to do that this evening. So I have, we can start with Councilor Malero.
Thank you. Sir? 2 terms. I've got to know you much better over time, and I'm going to sincerely say you are an amazing person, wonderful human being. Shared some great stories with you, and thank you for attending some of the functions that my kids were involved with. Meant a lot to them and to myself. Done some brilliant work, and very impressive, and it's been an honor to sit here next to you this time, short time. I know I've been here a lot longer than I have, but an absolute honor. Thank you. Thank you.
Both JMs.
Yeah, John echoes some of that, as well as just, being a finance guy working on the budget stuff and finance committees and all those things, and as well as exchanging Bloomfield stories from our past lives. So, really appreciate all the work and heart and time you put in. It's really part of the history of the town for all you've done. So very appreciative of all that. Thank you. Thanks for your time.
And I'll echo some of Jeff's. I went through 5 budgets. A few, the eye roll's probably right for a few of those budget conversations. But and I'll tell you, I appreciate your patience, because it actually took me a while to get used to government accounting coming from the private sector. First couple of budgets, very different getting into fund balance. So I thank you for that. And I think now I fully understand bonds and bands and all those pieces that we've gone through. No, we like premiums. I don't know if we'll ever see those again, but we had premiums. But no, thank you for all your years of service to the town.
Yeah, I just like to say thank you so much for your patience and for your passion for the community, and for always making us feel that we were moving forward. And a lot of times we don't necessarily understand the process, but you are always there to guide us. And we know that the residents certainly appreciate and value all of the years of service, and keeping our budgets balanced probably is the most important thing. And then obviously overseeing everything in the community. So on behalf of all of us, thank you.
So yeah, I think a common theme is your patience. So I thank you for your patience and your years of service and dedication to the town. And I, in particular, enjoy your sense of humor, the little dry quips that you make here and there, and any of us on council know that. And
Sometimes you get them right, Ed.
yeah, sometimes I get them, and sometimes I don't. It's like right over my head. But thank you. So.
Yeah, so I wanted to, of course, thank you for the work that you've done on council. Like, Alan had been through 5 budget processes, but before that, I was on a number of boards and commissions, as was some other members of the council as well. And we hadn't worked directly together, but I think your influence was felt through how we've interacted with town staff. And I think one of the ways you can tell how a person is as a leader is to see how their staff performs when they're not there. And I think we have really top-notch staff who are confident and informed, and that starts at the top. And I think that is something that I've always appreciated. We're all volunteers. This is something that we're trying to pick up on the fly and hopefully do the best we can for the folks who voted to put us here. And having the assistance of town staff and knowing that we're going to get a good informed answer has been very helpful, at least sitting in this part of the chair. And the other thing that I appreciate is that if you go to any event, just about anywhere in town that's put on by the town, we see you and your family there, and I think that's something that is very rewarding. Being able to see, how the events are playing out, but also the way that you have, really embraced being part of the community. As someone who at various times has tried to go everything myself, you're always there. So that is something that, you go to all sorts of different things. Sometimes you're flying over us in helicopters or C-130s from what I understand. But I appreciate your dedication, on and off the clock, and it's been a pleasure to serve.
John, I was a part of the process when you first made the step up from finance director to town manager, and I was proud to be part of that. And I witnessed firsthand for a stretch of time that you were doing both jobs, and just without ever really missing a beat. You know, you did extraordinary work, and during all these years, we never seem to have missed a year of getting one of those plaques for the excellence in the financial management of this town. With you and with Mona as you're working hand in hand, we really never missed a beat on that front or in any other aspect of the job. I think we can be proud to be part of a town that has a reputation as being extremely well run, and you know, so much of that is thanks to your efforts. Greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for your service.
John, I'd like to thank you also for all the hard work you've done for the town. In the financial arena, due to your expertise and guidance, we've had an excellent credit rating that's allowed us to borrow for less, which has been a benefit to our taxpayers. You have an infinite knowledge of how government works, the process, protocols, day-to-day operations, and so forth. You've been a big help to me, especially when I first came on the council, because I would pepper you with questions, sometimes offline, sometimes here. And I think if you check the minutes of our meetings, you're going to see that most meetings, somebody has asked for you, how do we do this, when do we do that? And 99 times out of 100, you have the answer right then and there. You also have a good rapport with other local governments, the regional organizations, the state and federal agencies that we've had to deal with, especially during the COVID, and that's been a great benefit to the town as well. Needless to say, the new town manager is going to have big shoes to fill. I, for one, am very sad that you're going, and I'm also sorry that we're not able to retain your expertise. So I wish you well, and thank you again for everything you've done for the town.
Okay, thank you.
And I would get up and shake your hand, but do it later.
Okay, and that's going to conclude the mayor's report, and we will move on to town manager's report.
Okay, two things with the town manager's report before my send-off speech. There's a farmer's market on the 22nd, Wednesday from 4 to 7. And Ed, you forgot to talk about the golf tournament traffic, that people should be prepared this weekend for some roads not being going one way as opposed to the two-way that we usually have. And a lot of people going up Main Street heading towards the golf course will probably get sent up to Brook Street if at the time the tournament is ending. But just to say,
I also enjoyed you batting cleanup.
that basically I'm not retiring. I started my career here in Rocky Hill in August of 1998. Spent a high percentage of the time being the finance director. But just to let you know that from September 2016 to April 2018, I was both the acting town manager as well as the finance director. And then from April 2018 to June 2022, I've been the town manager. So if you look at the wall, over my career here, I've worked with, been involved with working with 10 different mayors and 13 different councils. I figured I attended 435 town council meetings and 92 budget sessions. One thing that we did was we upgraded as I think Mimi mentioned, the bonding rates up to AA plus stable with S&P. Over this time period, we issued 8 bonds in the total of $120 million. We did refunding bonds of another $30 million. I do have a long list of capital projects been involved with, from starting off with the high school track and auditorium when I first got here, improving the roads, replacing the bridge at Dividend Road as well as Golf Brook, the construction of the new town hall, the Parks and referendum in which we upgraded athletic fields, including that athletic turf at the football field so that it could be used by multi-sports within hours and so on. Did improvements at the ferry landing and the construction of the amphitheater, as well as acquisition of farmland and open space through purchase of property as well as development rights. The public safety upgrading, including the police department's dispatch center and upgrade to the jails, and the fire department right-sizing their fire trucks, and the construction of the new Mosier School, and the acquisition of Stratska Farm, and the completion of the expansion of the community center. The pension plan assets grew from 2000 from $23 million to, well, $76 million. If it was last month, it would have been higher, but it's going down and so on. As well as negotiating 11 labor contracts with the 6 bargaining units and hiring 6 department heads. So with that said, I'd like to thank the town staff that I worked with, people in the town hall, the police department, the volunteer, fire, and ambulance people. I wish the town staff well in their careers as they move forward. I want to thank my wife and family for their support over this, and I want to best of luck to the next acting town manager. Hopefully that person won't have to be in the position for 20 months like I was, and to the next town manager to keep Rocky Hill moving forward. And with that, I wish everyone farewell. So thank you.
Thank you, John.
That concludes the mayor's report, town manager's report.
Thank you. On behalf of the entire town of Rocky Hill, we wish you very well in your new endeavors.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to executive session.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session for the express purpose of review draft resolution regarding Charter Section 504.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.